Hey guys, it's been a while and this video is long overdue, and as you guessed from the title, I made another switch. I sold my Lumix S5IIX about 6 months ago and I bought the Nikon Z6III, which I'm currently using. And yeah, I'm gonna just share my overall thoughts after 6 months. Unfortunately, I didn't get much time to use it extensively because for like the last 6 months I was moving and traveling, and only now I get some time to spend with the camera, as you might have seen from my previous videos. And yeah, I just must say I don't regret switching at all. It's amazing. It's an amazing camera, and I'm gonna explain why. So first and foremost, it's internal RAW, as I've been using Blackmagic cameras for a long time and I'm used to having internal RAW, a good 12-bit codec that I can easily grade and fix issues in case I have them while on set, you know? It's just having internal RAW. Especially that, like, you can say, oh, Panasonic now has internal RAW, or like whatever other camera. Yeah, they have ProRes RAW, which is not natively supported in DaVinci, which I'm using exclusively pretty much. And Nikon is supported in DaVinci. And after that, all red drama and red acquisition later, it has really good potential for the future. Like, it has some really good potential for the future. There are some rumors that Analog 2 is on the way, getting some red log, whatever characteristics in it. But like in general, having internal RAW that is supported in DaVinci natively is just amazing. The reason number 2 is everything else regarding the recording formats it has, because it can do 6K full frame RAW, 60 frames per second. It can also do a 4K full frame RAW, 60 frames per second. And it can do 4K RAW in 120 frames per second. It is cropped Super 35, but it's still amazing. For those who like to use ProRes RAW, it has it as well. It also has a regular ProRes 422. It has a 10-bit H.265 and just 8-bit H.265 and H.264. So it's great if you don't need RAW, and if you have some projects that don't require RAW and you don't need hefty files, you just need to save up some space, or a client doesn't need RAW, ProRes is going to be enough. Or maybe you're recording a live stream or an event, so you might as well just need a regular 8-bit. So Nikon gets you covered with all of that, and it's great. The reason number 3 is that it wraps all these features in a small compact mirrorless body. You would expect 6K 60 frames per second internal RAW in something big and expensive, I don't know, like Sony Venice or Burano, and you get it in a small compact body. And for the fraction of the price of the cameras I mentioned before, I got mine for an amazing deal. I think I paid like £1,500 for it brand new, body only, which is phenomenal, I think. So the reason number 4 is kind of goes back to red acquisition and Nikon willing to bring new features to the cameras. Like, it already gave us a shutter angle, which Sony is struggling to do for most of its cameras. So yeah, that's like a good point. Nikon is really entering the game, and I think it's going to attract more and more filmmakers. And as a segue to the next point, it's the mount, because that mount, I think, is the shortest flange distance at the moment. It's 16 millimeters, so you can adapt pretty much anything, including Sony E-mount lenses, which might be a huge deal for a lot of Sony users. A lot of Sony users who invested a lot of money into the ecosystem, into Sony E-mount lenses, and kind of don't want to sell all that gear. They can just use it with an adapter on the Nikon bodies, and I've read some forums or comments that some of the lenses perform even better on Nikon with an adapter. So that's interesting. I haven't tested it myself yet, but there are plenty of videos on YouTube showing how it works, so I'm pretty confident in it. And to add to this point, the Nikon Z mount lenses are getting more and more diverse, because you can get like something cheap like a 40mm f2, which is an incredible small lens. I've posted some videos and I'm gonna post a lot more with this. It is cheap, it is quiet, the autofocus is quite good, and the picture is actually quite amazing for the price. I got it for £190 and brand new on Amazon. So like, that's a great price. You can find one used for like 150. I also have this Viltrox 85mm, which I got for 150 used. And I also have this Viltrox 20mm that I got for 130 brand new. So you can get like into the system really cheap and get some nice lenses, nice variety of lenses and focal lengths. And used market, it has some great options from the S line. So if you're just starting, you can find some really good budget-friendly solutions. These are the only Z-mount lenses I have now, but yeah, so far they work pretty good. And just look at how compact they are. Like, that's like perfect for gimbals. Like that's like amazing and incredible. Obviously there are a few cons to these lenses, like with this Viltrox, it has some chromatic aberrations, it has some distortions around the corner, and it has some blooming. It's like it has no filter at the moment, but it looks like it has like some mist filter. I guess you can see it here with the highlights a little bit. I can see that they're blown out a little on the zebras, but yeah. And also the autofocus is a little bit noisy, so I'm using a manual focus now. I just focused with a hand, and yeah, I'm just using it. But the autofocus itself, it works flawlessly. I filmed some stuff with it. It didn't let me down, especially the 40mm. The 40mm is amazing. It's incredible. It is quiet, it is reliable and snappy. Like 40mm is the lens I would recommend to get it first. And I film most of my stuff with it, with the Nikon. It's just, yeah. I think 40 is my new favorite focal length. Surely there's plenty more pros with Nikon, but there are also some cons, and the first one that comes to mind is the one that I can clearly see right now, because I'm monitoring myself right now and it doesn't have a lot over HDMI support, so it only shows log footage over HDMI. So if you have an external monitor, you gotta have the one that supports LUTs that you can upload on the monitor so you can monitor stuff properly, or make custom LUTs for that monitor as well. But yeah, you cannot do it natively. So I have my LUT installed into the OBS, which I'm monitoring with right now. And the other issue is regarding LUTs as well. It doesn't support any LUTs internally as well, except for the one that's built in yet, unfortunately. And the Rec 709 one that's installed in Nikon is not really good because it shows everything a little bit overexposed. It looks like it's overexposed, but it's not. So I only use zebras and waveforms to monitor my exposure because the LUT is not really good. And sometimes I would often even go into log so I can see my highlights and check that they're not clipping. I can see that my highlights are clipping at the moment with zebras now, but it's because there's sun outside and it's moving. So just gonna live with it. The other thing, it doesn't have any active cooling like S5IIX has. It didn't overheat on me even once yet, but it's getting hot sometimes. I was in Italy a few days ago and it was like 35 degrees and the camera was getting quite hot, but no issues so far, so yeah. The other thing to keep in mind is that it has a 2-hour recording limit, which is ridiculous, I think. They should at least give us an option to turn this limit off, but there's not really a lot of situations where I would record for more than 2 hours, so not a deal breaker for me. The other con that might be a deal breaker to some is that it doesn't have your traditional S and Q mode, whereas in Sony, Blackmagic or Panasonic, you would just set your project frame rate, let's say 24 FPS, and whenever you shoot 60, it will slow it down in camera, and in the output you will get a slowed down 24 FPS file. While with Nikon, if you record in 60 FPS, you get a 60 FPS file, and you gotta slow it down yourself in post, which sometimes can be time consuming and simply annoying. And I guess the last big con that comes to mind is the one that people talked a lot about on YouTube, is the flickering noise in the shadows. And it is there. Like, if you're filming, if you're underexposing, if you're shooting like at higher ISOs, especially at 5000, like you'd never shoot 5000, it's crazy there. Just switch to 6.4 and it's gonna be way cleaner. But it is there, but it sits at a certain point between the blacks and the shadows, and you can kinda fix it by tracking it down a little. Especially it's easy with HDR wheels, and if you just add like 5% of noise reduction, it's just gonna be gone completely. I almost never do any noise reduction on my footage, the one that I post on YouTube, and you can see some examples. If you see any flickering, just tell me, but I don't see any. So not an issue, if any, easily fixed. Because you got to take in consideration that it is RAW, it doesn't have any noise reduction in camera whatsoever, because even Sony and Panasonic, you can kind of turn off noise reduction, it still will have some if it's a 10-bit file. So yeah, just there's no internal noise reduction, so you kind of got to do it yourself in post anyway. And since I don't do it most of the time and it's fine, well, it's great noise performance, I'd say. And now let's finally talk about why I switched from Lumix to Nikon. So it is my second Nikon camera. I only had a Nikon D3300, which I consider my first camera because I had a Canon 600D before that, but I only used it once and I sold it because I didn't like it. And Nikon is the camera that I still have, kinda. So I consider Nikon as my first camera. Then I got Lumix G7 and then Blackmagic, a lot of Blackmagics. And then I switched to the original Lumix S5 because I wanted something mirrorless with IBIS and autofocus. On S5 it was useless, but still autofocus nonetheless, better than Blackmagic. Just for YouTube and traveling and some sort of documentary style videos to be more compact and run and gun. But for some reason, like, I still was using Blackmagic a lot because I liked internal RAW and colors that coming out of Blackmagic more than from Lumix S5. Then they released S5 II, which I got because phase detect autofocus, but still I wasn't getting quite the image and color fidelity I wanted from the files. Oh, the sun is gone. It's getting darker here. Oh, at least the windows are not blown out now. But anyway, so I wanted something compact and mirrorless, but with good colors and preferably RAW and internal RAW without any recorders and stuff, because with Lumix cameras the other issue was that if you want to record externally over the HDMI monitor like Blackmagic Assist or whatever, you would get a huge lag delay over HDMI. Like, you would do a pan and it would pan like this, like that's the camera, that's the monitor. It would like be really bad like this. So it was completely unusable. And again, I wanted an internal RAW so I don't have to deal with all these recorders, because they're quite pricey as well and you can spend that money elsewhere. So after S5 II I got S5IIX. It had all-I and it had SSD ProRes recording, but again, it's cables, SSDs, it's like too much stuff around the camera, and I didn't like that as well. And overall, like, the camera using experience was weird because the camera was slow. Like, you would try to go into the menus and do some stuff, or like even turning the camera on was quite slow with Lumix compared to Nikon, which turns on just instantly. It's like a party trick, I don't know, like you just press and it's just on. I get it, it's made for like wildlife or sport event photographers where you can't lose a moment, so you just like turn on and that's it, it's on. Incredible feature, just incredible. The processor on Nikon is just super fast, incredible, which allows to record such formats. And it uses the CF Express cards, which are not cheap, but they're also not super expensive, and they're super fast. You can even edit off of them, and they're reliable, so only upsides. And it has both CF Express and SD. If you don't have money to buy CF Express now, you can just like use a regular SD. At least you get 10-bit in log, so it's good. That's basically the highest codec Lumix could get on SD, so yeah. But what you get with Nikon is an amazing mount, no bullshit HDMI lag. It has amazing autofocus, which I was surprised, to be honest. It's really good. The other big thing for me, and I think one of the biggest, is the rolling shutter, because on Lumix it was like 22-24 seconds full frame, and with Nikon it's only 9 in full frame, and it was 16 in crop on Lumix, and it's only 6 in crop with Nikon. And 6 in Super 35 is basically like Alexa or Ursa. That's like really getting into the high-end cameras level in terms of rolling shutter performance. So it is really good, it's really impressive. Especially if you're using longer lenses or anamorphic. And speaking of anamorphic, it's kind of a downside here because it doesn't allow you to shoot open gate with Nikon or like the 4:3 crop mode like it can do with Lumix. But I don't shoot anamorphic that often, and I don't really like a 2x or 1.6x squeeze for regular use, like if it's not movies or something. I would much prefer 1.3. It's much cleaner, less distortion. You still get an anamorphic look, but I don't know, it's just cleaner for overall like commercials or documentaries. But that's the matter of personal preference, I guess. So as you can see, each camera has its strengths and weaknesses, but for me personally, for things that I do and for things that I like in cameras, and first of all, it's the image quality, it's the formats that it can record, it's the rolling shutter performance, and the colors that are coming out of Nikon are just phenomenal. I would normally just do temperature in a raw tab and just contrast in like curves and HDR wheels. That's all that I would do normally, and that's pretty much enough to make Nikon image look great. With Lumix, it just took me more time to make it look good, but Lumix is still a fantastic camera, especially for a lot of people who have different tastes, different needs, who need LUT support, built-in camera. Although I hope that Nikon will bring to the camera soon. But at the moment, we judge the camera for what it is right now. And Lumix has those LUT supports and the 4x3 and open gate modes. It has anamorphic D-squeeze, which Nikon doesn't have. It has just like overall better menus and just simpler interface, I guess. With Nikon, you kind of have to struggle a little to get used to it. But once you get it, there's nothing much to twist because you just shoot raw most of the time, at least for me. So each camera has its pros and cons. It's just a matter of what you're willing to deal with. Anyway, I probably didn't mention everything I wanted, but it's just an overall opinion about the camera and first few months of using it. It's my first time using it as a talking head camera, so quite interested to see what it's gonna look like. If you have any questions, just drop them down in the comments below and we'll discuss them there, or I'll just make a separate Q&A video about it. So yeah, let's have fun. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.